Guitar players often think of seventh chords as fixed shapes. You learn one voicing and then you get stuck in that position. Now, if you've been following my lessons for a while, you know that I like to create movement over seventh chords using simple major and minor triad shapes. For example, if I play F major 7 and I take that F note, the root, away, I have an A minor triad. We will have the opposite for minor 7 chords. Anytime you play a minor 7 chord, you will always have a major triad hidden inside the chord. For example, if I play B minor 7 and I take the root note away, I will have a D major triad here. In this lesson, I want to show you a new approach on how to create movement over seventh chords using free note chords that are not necessarily triads. We're going to be focusing on three strings, the low E string and the D and the G string. Let me show you an example of how this sounds and then we will break it down. Now for this example, we're going to be playing in the key of G major. We're going to play a 2-5-1. A minor 7 is going to be the 2 chord, D7 is going to be the 5 chord, and G major 7 is going to be the 1 chord. Even though we have three different voicings, the concept is going to be the same for each one of these chords. Now the first thing we want to do is learn our chord tones on the lowest string. You need to think about the guitar horizontally, like a piano player. Let's grab A minor as an example. We need to find the root, the minor third, the fifth, and the flat 7. So let's find those chord tones for A minor 7. I got the root, 5th fret, we go to C, minor 3rd, we go to E, 5th, back to the root, and the flat 7 is going to be a whole step below. Now we're going to try to harmonize each one of these notes and then we're going to break down the chords. So for the root, I'm going to play this chord. For the minor 3rd, I'm going to play this chord. For the 5th, I'm going to play this chord. I'm going to go back to the root, and for the flat 7, I'm going to play this chord. Now again, these chords are not necessarily going to be triads. Let's look at the first example. I have A minor 7 here. I have the root, the flat 7, and the flat 3. That's what we call a shell voicing. Next shape, starting on the minor 3rd, I'm going to have this chord. That's no more than A minor spread triad, first inversion. The closed triad will be this chord. Right? I bring the 5th an octave higher, I have this shape. Next shape, starting on the 5th, I'm going to have this chord. Again, I have a shell voice in here, right? Here will be the A minor 7 with the root on the 12th fret of the A string. I bring that note to the 5th. So I have 5, flat 3, flat 7. Now let's go back to my A minor 7, root position. I'm going to go a whole step down to the flat 7 and I'm going to have this chord. And here I have a minor 7 chord without a third, right? So I have the flat 7, I have the 5th, and I have the root. Even though that chord doesn't have a minor third, the idea here is not to be stuck in one position. It's to create movement over one chord. So it's a great passing chord, right? One thing to notice here, anytime I'm approaching these chord tones on the lowest string, I'm always using my middle finger. Try to get used to that. To always use your middle finger and then use your other fingers to switch between the D and the G string. The reason I'm doing this is because you can take these concepts to the next level, meaning you can go away from like pop and maybe rock or funk and go into the jazz world, right? Now, what happens in the jazz world? People tend to connect chord tones with enclosures. Those are notes that are a half step above or a half step below the chord tone that you're going for. So if you want to do that, right? And you want to approach each one of the chord tones, for example, from a half step below, you will have a way more busy bass line here, right? You will have this. Now, if you harmonize those chord tones with the chords, you end up with something like this. As you can see, our bass line got busier, right? So if you keep that middle finger there, it's going to be easier for you to find that flow. Now let's do the same for the 5 chord, in this case D7. We have a dominant chord now. I'm going to start this time from the lowest note, right? In this case it's going to be F sharp. That's the major third. Then I'm going to go to the 5th, that is going to be A. I'm going to go to the flat 7, that is going to be C. And I'm going to go to D, that is the root. Now let's try to harmonize those chord tones. For the major third, F sharp, I'm going to have this shape. And again here I have a spread triad, major, first inversion. I'm going to bring this shape an octave higher so it makes a little bit more sense because here I have the open strings. So I'm going to play it here. That's my first inversion spread triad, right? I got the third, I got the fifth, and I got the root. If I bring that fifth an octave higher, I'm going to have this shape. Now at this point you're going to be wondering, why are the shapes repeating for major and minor, right? You're going to see that this is going to happen a lot. So you need to visualize that there is a bass player playing with you, right? And he's actually just holding the roots of the chords. He's actually just being really bored and holding the G note, is holding the A note and the D note, right? Usually it will happen the opposite. You will be holding the chord and the bass player will be moving around. But because this is a guitar lesson and we're trying to learn concepts, think the opposite. Think that when you're playing A minor, there's going to be a bass guy playing that A note for you while you're moving around. When we go to D7, there's going to be a bass player playing that D note for you while you're moving around. So you're going to see, even though the shapes are repeating, the harmony is reacting different because of the bass note that we have on top. So again, major third, F sharp, we have this shape. Major spread triad first inversion. Then we're going to go to the fifth of D, and we're going to play this shape. Right? And here we have, again, a shell voicing chord. If I bring that fifth to the root, fifth fret of the A string, I have a really classic D7 shell voicing. Root, third, flat 7. All I'm doing is bringing that root to the fifth. Now for the flat 7, I'm going to repeat the same chord as the minor 7. Why? Because there is no third here. And a minor 7 chord and a dominant chord have a flat 7. So I have flat 7, fifth, root. And for the root, I'm going to have this classic shell voicing. Root, flat 7, third. So again, for D7, I have this. And for my last chord, we're going to play the 1 chord, in this case G major 7. Let's start by finding those chord tones on the 6th string, right? I have G, the root, I have B, the major 3rd, I have D, the 5th, and I have F sharp, the major 7. Here we're going to use a little variation. We're going to try to go from the major 7, in this case F sharp is the major 7 of G, to the 6th, in this case E. So this shape, even though it looks like an E minor 7 chord, we're playing over G, so it's a G6. So whenever I have the chance, I'm going to try to play a G6 too, right? For example, first chord, I have the root. My voicing is going to be this, G major 7, shell voicing. I got the root, the major 7, and the major 3rd. Now, if I bring that major 7 whole step down, I have a G6 here. So I can switch between G major 7 and G6. Now for my next chord, starting on B, the major 3rd of G, I have this shape. Again, I have that spread triad first inversion, right? The closed triad is this one. I bring that fifth an octave higher. I have this triad. Next chord over D, the 5th of G, I'm going to have this one. Right? Here I have the 5th, I have the major 3rd and the major 7. Again, a shell voicing starting on the 5th. And for the major 7, I'm going to play this shape. Right? Here I have the major 7, I have the 5th, and I got the root. Now I'm going to bring that major 7 a whole step down to E. And again, even though this chord looks like an E minor 7, we're playing over G, so it's a G6. If I play those chords again, I will have this. Now, once you get the chords, then you can start playing around the chord progression, right? We have a 2-5-1 in the key of G. Think about voice leading. Try to keep the voices as close as possible. This is also a practice exercise before even trying to do music, right? So the idea is here. I'm going to play 2-5-1, A minor 7, D7, G major 7. I'm going to start with my lowest A minor 7, starting on the flat 7. Right? From here, I'm going to try to go to a D7. And then I'm going to go to a G major 7. And then remember, I can go to G6 too. Then I'm going to go to another new A minor 7. And I'm going to go to D7, G major 7. Next inversion, A minor 7, D7, G major 7. And the last one, A minor 7, D7, and I'm going to go to G major 7 here, and then I'm going to go to G6. Now, these are the two practice exercises. You first want to learn the chords, and then you want to keep those voicings as close as possible. Once you feel comfortable with this, then you can start creating your own guitar parts. Let me do a little breakdown of what I play at the beginning. All I was doing was going from A minor 7 root position to the A minor 7 with the flat 7 on the bass. From here I went to my closest D major, and then I went from G major to G6. Then inversion of A minor 7 to A minor 7 on the root, D7, and then I finish with A minor 7, D7, G major 7, and my last chord was this G6. Now, if you saw my last lesson about guitar layering, you understand that that first guitar needs to always come from a place of creativity and comfort. I really think that this concept is not that hard to get. So if you put some hours on it, this concept can actually be your guitar one, that place of comfort, that place where you start the song. But just one last reminder, whenever you're using these chords, think about that you have a bass player playing with you, just holding the root notes, right? For A, just hold an A note. For D, just hold a D note. For G, just hold a G note, right? You're gonna be creating a lot of movement here. So you really wanna know when you're in A, when you're in D, and when you're in G. All right, guys, I hope you find those ideas useful. See you next time. Bye-bye.